We about ready to do this. Okay. All right, everything look good. What's up, people? What's up? All right, we're getting ready to start. About a few seconds here. All right. Okay. All right, let's do it.
Warning, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, kind people? You're checking out an all-new The RCWR show, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Lee Sanders here, hungry Lee Sanders at that. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I hope you guys are doing fantastic as well. Hope your weekend was good, especially given the fact that it was Valentine's Day weekend. And for some financial institutions, schools, things of that nature, they officially recognize it today. But hopefully you guys had a nice little Valentine's weekend. I had spoke with a couple of my friends, co-workers. They seem to had enjoyed themselves quite well. By the way, can I just say one more time, this will probably be the last time that I say it, but can I just say thank you one more time to those of you that had checked out the 8th annual Slow Jamming with Lee event. I do appreciate you guys that went out of your way to check out that special. Means a lot to me. I had received private DMs, was interacting with people on Twitter, on my personal Facebook page, and so many people were just giving me a lot of compliments on how they had enjoyed the special. A lot of good tunes that I had played on that special. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, yeah, who knows? Maybe after you get done with this episode, kick on back, scoop it up wherever you get your podcast, because it is available on all the platforms wherever you get your podcasts, with the exception of Spotify. Spotify, I'm looking at you. I mean, we had those hiccups a couple of months ago with Spotify. For whatever, newer listeners, for whatever respected reason, Spotify had pulled our old RCWR show feed. I don't know why, but when I tried to get an explanation, they gave me this whole runaround, and they basically had said, oh, talk to the people that distribute your podcast, because they will know the reason why it was pulled. But you probably had received this as a result of some type of DCMA violation, blah, blah, blah. But speak to whoever your hosting provider is. So I reached out to the hosting provider people, and they were like, no, from what we can see, you're good. We received no type of notification from Spotify whatsoever. And it was, okay, what the hell? So your guess is as good as mine what had happened. There's a new Spotify feed that is up, but right now, all that Spotify feed is for is uploading episodes of Impact Showdown. Maybe at a later date, I will consider adding episodes of the RCWR show, but the Slow Jamming special, not on there, but it is on the other platforms. And again, for those of you that checked out that Slow Jamming special, you loved it so much. Yes, same time, same place, next year, we're going to be doing it again. I still can't believe 8 years, though. That's the thing that just kind of blows my mind. It was really put into perspective by my girl as I was putting the playlist together. Big shout out to her, by the way, because she usually checks out all the shows I put out during the week. She usually watches about half of the shows, and each show she watches about half of it, each one. But shout out to her, because she was good to piggyback off of when I had my playlist together, and I was going, what do you think about this? What do you think about maybe adding this one? Any recommendations? I'm kind of drawing a blank here. She was really, really cool and giving me some suggestions and all that. But it was her that brought to my attention when I was putting the slow jamming special. She said, "How long have you been doing this now? Like, what year are you on now? What are you on? Like year 4, year 5?" I said, "No." And I started thinking about it. I don't know. I'm thinking year 7. And she did some research. She's like, "No, you've been doing this for 8 years now." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, it's been 8 years." I'm like, Jesus. With this installment that we just did, like 8, this is our 8th installment. So we've been doing it 8 years now. Like, damn, time flies. Really, time flies. Time flies. I'm getting a little grayer in some areas, but I still feel very youthful. I still feel very jubilant. Raw tonight, come on, not really too much to talk about, although I will say that third and final hour for Raw, that was intriguing. I did enjoy that third and final hour of Raw. We'll talk a lot more about Raw in a hot minute. We're also going to talk about the WWE Untold episode on the APA. Farouk and Bradshaw. I have finally got an opportunity to watch that. I kept having it in the back of my brain. Hey, sit down and watch this. Sit down and watch this. And the extra motivation that I had got. It's really cool because normally when it comes to WWE pay-per-view weekends, my girl is usually watching the shows with me. And I got to tell you, with regards to TakeOver, I didn't even touch on this with the TakeOver post show that we did. She loved MSK. She thought that of all the matches, she was very taken back by what those MSK boys did. So for me to hear her jump out there and say that, for them to have wowed her the way that they did, that means they were doing some shit, right? She really had enjoyed their wrestling. And pretty much after she saw the match from beginning to end, she had to do some stuff work related, but she stuck around for that. And she was like, she said they were good. Those boys were good. She's like, yeah. She said, you know, they're from Impact Wrestling. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, like, they're from Impact Wrestling. She's like, okay, I see them. She's like, yeah, they're very good. Like, yeah, they're good. But after I had did the TakeOver post show, she happened to be still up, and I said, hey, so did they show a new WWE Icons? And she said, no, but I did see a Untold episode on the APA. I said, oh, okay. You watched it in its entirety? She's like, yeah, it was really, really good. Check it out. You'll actually enjoy it. And that was the extra motivation I needed to check out the special. So I'll definitely be giving my thoughts about that during this broadcast. We got some major WWE news. We definitely got a topic we're going to be revisiting that I brought up on the show a couple of weeks ago with regards to Pat Patterson. Some of you all were taken back by some choice words. It wasn't anything that was degrading or demeaning with regards to Pat Patterson, but put this in the back of your mind and smoke on it for now. Just marinate on it for a little bit. But there were those of you that were very puzzled by some choice words that I had to say about Pat Patterson. And some of you all wondered why I wasn't joining the fellow community and celebrating his life and everything that he accomplished as a pro wrestler and everything, why there was reservation on my part. And man, that wasn't even that long ago that I had talked about this. And an interesting development had went down within the past 72 hours connected to Pat Patterson. I'll explain more later. So yeah, we got a nice solid show for you guys. So kick on back, enjoy yourself for the next hour that we're going to be on and everything. So Elimination Chamber this Sunday. No, we're not going to get into predictions for Elimination Chamber Sunday. I think at this point it makes more sense to do that as it gets closer to the pay-per-view event. I wouldn't mind actually, I'm looking at my schedule now as I speak, and honestly, we can come on live after SmackDown, and I think that's a really good time to talk about SmackDown, go over the pay-per-view card, offer some match predictions and all that then. But we saw an interesting development come about tonight with Raw, where Miz had hosted a special edition of Miz TV, and his special guest was Drew McIntyre. And this was your opener for Monday Night Raw. And I gotta tell you, they were losing me there in those first opening minutes. They really, really were, because it seemed as though it was dragging on for a bit. I was a little bit curious where we were going to be going with this. I'm glad that I stayed with it because a big development came about from this opener for those of us that actually sat through it all. Because I get it, man. Look, as big of a fan I am of Miz, there have been plenty of times over the years where you get a Miz segment and it's, you know what? I'm good, man. I'm good. Miz, you kind of a little bit sour right now, dog. A little bit stale. Yeah, I'm good. Love Miz and Miz's though. That shit's awesome. But yeah, I'm glad I stuck with it. So Miz essentially poking the bear in Drew McIntyre, constantly bringing up in various ways how Sheamus essentially stabbed McIntyre in the back and Drew's feathers getting ruffled. It was kind of interesting how Drew had a not really a playful demeanor about him, but he was a bit laid back. You know, you're seeing this and you can't help but say to yourself, well, first off, why would Drew agree to be a guest on Miz TV? Like, that's the first thing. And then second of all, if you're the WWE champion, you're going, and where the hell is John Morrison? Because could this be a setup and attacking me and possibly cashing in that Money in the Bank briefcase? Successful at that. But then you have to think about, go on that deeper level for a hot minute. But then you got to go on that deeper level. Well, if Miz were to do that, then what would that mean for the Elimination Chamber? Would that mean Miz would be inserted in Drew McIntyre's place at Elimination Chamber? You know, or to be the old white man and Coming to America. You know, remember that scene? So, you know, you kind of have that going in your mind there, but you're curious, like, okay, where are we going with this? But Miz just poking the bear, and McIntyre, just had enough of the Miz, headbutted the hell out of him. That pretty much was it. And then what may have came off as a sign of, well, I'll show everybody else, a sign of frustration, irritation, Miz taking himself out of the Elimination Chamber match. I honestly thought this was a smart move. I didn't understand for the love of me, and it's interesting because nobody on social media I saw brought up this point. I was wondering if anybody, look, if you made the point on social media, kudos to you, but to my credit, what I saw, I didn't see anybody on social media bringing up the question, why the hell is Miz even involved in this Elimination Chamber matchup? Wouldn't it make more sense to not have him be involved in this so that you can give the illusion that it's possible that after a grueling Elimination Chamber match for the title, Miz could possibly inject himself in there, and you know, that would make a lot more sense. You gotta have that kind of aura to it. So why is Miz even involved in this? Sure, former WWE champion, but still, why the hell is Miz in this? This has to be kind of balanced out here. So that, but then you're also thinking at the same time, based on what WWE did on this same program tonight, oh snap, I guess maybe it was the bookers or somebody. I don't know if it was maybe Michael P.S. Hayes. Doop, you know something? We missing a little bit of color in our main event match for Elimination Chamber for the WWE title. You know, we ain't got no Mexican, we ain't got no black, we ain't got no Chinese person in there. You know, we got a quota that we need to fill. I don't know if it was kind of one of those type of deals. More on that later. Yeah, I can just picture you guys laughing, but others going, wait, what the hell? Stay with me, because it's all connected. But yeah, there was apparently a quota that needed to be filled tonight, and the only way to achieve that quota would be for, in storyline, Miz pulling himself out of Elimination Chamber. Now, Miz talking with Adam Cole. Hey, I want to recommend a young up-and-coming guy, John Morrison, Adam Pearce. I called him Adam Cole, didn't I? I apologize in advance. Adam Pearce, taking that into consideration. But we saw what was essentially going to be the blueprint for tonight. Basically, Kofi Kingston hearing about a vacancy, wanting an opportunity to fight for that spot. Match was made. Miz, Kofi Kingston. Rules very simple. Kofi Kingston wins. He's in the Elimination Chamber match. Miz wins. Then his boy, John Morrison, slides right on in there. That's it. It's set. We did see Braun Strowman pop up. Nice little cameo. He got in the face of Adam Pearce, wondering the hell is going on. You do this big main event for Elimination Chamber involving these champions, and you don't think to include me? What's up with that? Pearce, hey, we're talking about WWE champions. To Braun Strowman's credit, he's a Universal champion. Well, gotta put a little asterisk by that because for this particular match, they're talking about former WWE World Heavyweight champions, not Universal champions. Answer did not please Braun Strowman, and he pretty much said, tread lightly, you and Shane McMahon. You guys need to tread lightly. You saw what I was capable of that resulted in me being suspended for a significant period of time. You know what I'm capable of, so tread lightly from here on out. So, nice little development there. Honestly, happy to see the big guy back. I actually missed the big man. So I'm happy to see where this story arc is going to be taking us on the road to WrestleMania this go round. Have to wait and see how that plays out. But besides that, Kofi, Miz, great match, by the way. Great match between those two. Another instant classic. You know, kind of rare that we get to see those guys lock up. But tonight, pretty good. Kofi Kingston getting the dub. So as a result of that, he's now in the Elimination Chamber. So there is our ethnic quota that needed to be filled. If you remember just from a few seconds ago. So we've got, and you know, after all, it is February. It is Black History Month. We got to make sure that we do our very best to, how you say, keep hope alive. I said, we got to keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. You may not be the most. Hell, it ain't even enough to boast. Time and time again, you come up short. But keep hope alive. You may not be driving a fancy car, 'cause you drinking at that local bar. Reach up, grab that star in the sky, and keep hope alive. I said keep hope alive. While Trixie from around the corner is giving you bed, make sure you watch out for that shotgun underneath her bed. Reach out, grab onto that thing called hope, and keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. So they filled that racial quota there. WWE did. Look, no disrespect. Love Kofi. Love Kofi. I'm scratching my head though. I'm going, Keith Lee? I mean, I'm just saying, Keith Lee. What's up with my man Keith Lee? If there's anybody that we need to be, you know, hey, Kofi, cool, but nah, man. We got this new toy over here known as Big Lee. Big Keith Lee. What's going on with the brother? I'm just baffled. I don't know. Maybe it's a case where, what, is he on some type of personal leave? What's going on? Curious minds want to know. Maybe we kind of have an idea what's going to be happening with him next, as Bobby Lashley had recently did an interview. I wish I could give credit where credit is due. Maybe it was, felt like it was TV Guide or something like that, but don't quote me on that. But in either case, he gave an interview recently and he said that he would love to see Keith Lee get involved with the Hurt Business. He would love to see Keith Lee be recruited into the Hurt Business. So maybe Lashley actually kind of gave us a little bit of a taste of things to come on the road to WrestleMania. And if you guys remember, not for nothing, I had said several weeks ago, why not do an angle where Hurt Business tries to recruit Keith Lee, and it keeps being teased. Turns out it's not really going nowhere. Now, I'm not quite sure if I had set it up so that Keith Lee would collide with one of the guys from the Hurt Business by WrestleMania, but I did bring up that fact. I did toy around with that idea. So the fact that Lashley had touched upon that, I don't know, guys and gals, we may be on to something there, right? Stranger things have happened, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But yeah, that's just where I am right now with that whole ethnic quota. You know, why one ethnic? Why not have both? As far as I'm concerned, why not have Kofi in there? You know, but then you make the argument. Well, Lee, let's remember what in storyline Adam Pearce said to Braun Strowman, which is no. This is for former WWE champions. So, you know, even if a guy like Keith Lee is right, so that kind of. But still, you just wish that there was a little bit of flexibility. You feel where I'm coming from? You just kind of wish that there was. But, yeah, you know, it is what it is. So, later on in the night, I thought was really interesting because we see Kofi Kingston in action again. And you're going, wait a minute, what's going on with this matchup? We just saw Kofi. What the hell is... Because we really did not see any promotion for this throughout Raw. But we're informed that Kofi's back out because he's getting ready to have this gauntlet match where basically he's facing the other participants. It's basically a one-on-one match. All the participants that's going to be in this Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship, they all were facing each other in a gauntlet match. Kofi essentially kicking things off. And whoever won this at the end would be the last man guaranteed to come out of their chamber pod at the pay-per-view. So, okay, a great opportunity to be the last man, come in there extremely fresh, you know, pick up the bones, pick up the scraps there. Okay, awesome, let's do it. So, Kofi, now this part I actually, let's see if I remember, because right now, I know you guys are probably enjoying the flow. Right now, everything is just off the top of my head on what I had saw tonight. So normally I have just a couple of bullet points written down and I can just, but tonight I'm doing pretty good. Maybe that's because of the great class that I had earlier tonight. You guys have no idea. I had, just a quick sidebar, I had a phenomenal English class earlier tonight. I've been working on my essay where my thesis is, it's basically all about Jose Feliciano. For you older cats, you know definitely who Jose Feliciano is. For you younger cats that don't know anything about Jose Feliciano is basically, if I were to sum it up, he is the blind Latin version of Stevie Wonder. He is just a musical genius. He's self-taught. I mean, check this out. He taught himself how to play instruments. To date, I believe over 11 instruments. Harmonica, I believe the banjo, guitar. Yeah, everything started when he was at the age of 3, going on 4. And one of the first things that he taught himself to play was rice in a tin can. And it impressed his family so much, particularly his uncle, that his uncle, okay, yeah, this kid's got some musical talent here, and pretty much the rest is history. He's, Jose Feliciano, he's basically the guy behind Light My Fire, the 1967 hit by The Doors. Okay, that guy, Feliz Navidad, yeah, he's the guy that's behind those songs. And so it's been revigorating to work on this essay the past week now with my professor, and she's pretty much been my Jonah Jameson to somewhat my Peter Parker, and you know, no, you gotta do it like this, Parker, you know, kind of doing it like that. But tonight was just so maybe that's why I got a little bit of an extra pep in my step tonight, because earlier tonight I had submitted my second paragraph for my essay, and she goes, Lee, and of course we're doing our classes in Zoom, so she goes, Lee, I go, yes ma'am. Look at me for a second. I'm like, She goes, look at me for a second, Lee. I'm like, yes. And she gives me 2 thumbs up. She goes, you got it. You got the hang of it. This is perfect. Work on your third paragraph. I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, matter of fact, what do you got for your third paragraph? And we were kind of going back and forth about that. And yeah, so maybe that's why I'm feeling because I'm feeling more sharper is the point that I'm making to you guys. So let's see what happens here without going to my notes. So the first person that Kofi Kingston faced was the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. By the way, all the matches during that Gauntlet series were extremely good. I gotta take for that final, my God, what did that feel like, by the way, guys? What was that? I mean, it felt as if we were watching maybe about 45 minutes. I might be going a little bit too high. Maybe it was actually 30 minutes. Who knows? 30, 35 minutes, give or take. But that, pretty much that final quarter of Raw tonight, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all those little gauntlet matches that we saw in there. I enjoyed. But if I had to really go back and just pinpoint the one match that I enjoyed the most out of that Gauntlet series, I enjoyed the first bout when it was Kofi taking on AJ Styles. That was extremely, extremely good. So damn good. I actually want to see some type of a story arc come out from that. And I would love to see Kofi, AJ in some type of a little mini feud going forward. I would personally love to see that happen. Right down to the point, I don't know if it'll happen, but I personally would not mind seeing Kofi, AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Let me know what you think, but Kofi, AJ Styles, WrestleMania, I'm telling you, it would be an instant 5-star match. What they did tonight, I mean, they were kind of teasing it there, man. It definitely, as much as I want to say a 4-star match, I kind of felt a little bit of holding back, which is okay because it's a TV show after all. But 3.5, maybe like a 3.5 out of 5. But give me those two again. Come WrestleMania, you got enough time to build it up and all that, or maybe there's already something planned for AJ, and we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. But I would love to see AJ and Kofi. Let me know what you guys think. Kofi getting the best of AJ Styles. So Kofi continued to advance. The second opponent that would come would be Drew McIntyre. So now Drew taking on Kofi. And at this point, you're looking at it. And by the way, I love how essentially what they did with Kofi tonight, they were almost doing what they had did when Kofi was on SmackDown. I don't know if you guys had peeped that out. And Kofi, remember that infamous episode of SmackDown? And essentially Vince McMahon was putting the screws to Kofi. Remember that? And it all led to that gauntlet. Ooh, man, those were good times right there. Those were damn good times right there. I enjoyed that. So, Drew McIntyre, not enough. Not enough for Kofi to overcome. Sadly. I was kind of rooting on there, man, because I was going, it would be kind of cool. But then I started thinking about it more. I said, son of a bitch, Sheamus is involved in this too, isn't he? And he's probably going to be the one that's going to come out at the end, most likely. Prelude to what's to come at Elimination Chamber, yeah? So, Kofi eliminated by Drew. Drew would then take on Randy Orton. Now, I need you all's help at this point because I actually started getting ready for the show. I was putting together some final notes and all. Now, I know earlier in the night, Randy Orton had cut a promo. I'm so sorry. I don't have my other light on, by the way. Let me actually fire that up real quick for you guys. And let's turn this one off. I'm so sorry. I actually care about lighting. Ain't nothing wrong having pretty lights. You just got to make sure you come in nice and good, yeah? But, okay, if I remember it right, I believe Randy Orton had cut a promo right before this whole gauntlet match. And he pretty much was talking about Bray Wyatt is behind him, dead, buried. He's focused on the present, reclaiming the WWE Championship. And he was somewhere backstage talking. He basically got interrupted by Alexa Bliss, who was inside this demonic little paradigm circle or whatever the hell, and you're kind of under the impression she's been doing some kind of black magic to resurrect Bray Wyatt or whatever. I don't know if she's doing her own little version of Candyman or what, but in either case, you get that and you're going, what's going to happen right here? So sadly, I don't know if Alexa Bliss came out at some point when Randy was fighting Drew McIntyre, caused a little bit of shenanigans, screwed him out of the opportunity. I would hope that's what happened. You guys that watch Raw tonight would actually have to let me know, because I'm letting you know right now, if that actually did not happen, that's kind of weird. That's really, really weird, because you would think that's maybe the route we're going to be going. But yeah, let me know, because I want to know what had happened, if there was interference or not. But McIntyre did overcome Randy Orton. Final opponent to come out would be Sheamus, and at this point, Drew is just physically, he is just exhausted. I mean, he's physically burned out. He is physically burned out. And pretty much ripe for the pickings for Sheamus. I mean, Drew didn't even have that much offense. Sheamus just pretty much came in there, mugged the hell out of McIntyre. Sheamus is your winner for this gauntlet match, and as a result of that, he's the final, he wins the right, I should say, to come out of his pod last at this Chamber main event come Sunday. So that was pretty good stuff right there. Like, again, that last 35 minutes of Raw, maybe it might have been 40, who knows, but that was good. That was good. I didn't mind those matches whatsoever. That was good. Didn't care for probably one of the most bipolar moments out of the entire night. Actually came to us in the form of Lacey Evans, Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Peyton Royce. Let me set this up properly without being long-winded. So this week, Lacey Evans teamed up with Peyton Royce. They were pretty good together. They gelled pretty good. So, tag match, these girls facing Asuka, Charlotte Flair. Lacey Evans coming out there, putting on nice, good, hot game on the microphone, talking about how, hey, Charlotte, thank you so much for losing your cool last week, putting me in a position where I now get to face Asuka for her Raw Women's Championship. Looking forward to taking that title away from you, Asuka. I mean, she's talking a nice, good, hot game. We get into this tag match. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. Charlotte fixing to get her hands on Lacey Evans. I mean, she wants her bad. But no matter what, Lacey Evans isn't giving Charlotte what she wants. Okay, working it like a good heel should. Good. I mean, it's story-wise, it's flowing good. The way the match was booked, it was flowing very good. Got Peyton Royce out there doing most of the bumping and selling and all. Okay, it was going pretty good. But then Charlotte just, I don't know, like snap or whatever. She's trying to get her hands on Lacey. Lacey rolls out of the ring and she says, "Hey, Charlotte. Hey, Charlotte, got something to tell you. I'm pregnant." You're looking at this and you're going, wait, say what? And you've got Ric Flair looking on, ecstatic. You kind of overhear him saying, "Why didn't you call me daddy?" So you're looking at this and you're going, oh, this is the path that we're going down, huh? Really, like this is where we're going. I'm not really sure how to take this right now. First off, I mean, where are we going with this? First of all, is this legit? Is this legit that Lacey Evans is pregnant? You have to legitimately ask that question. You do. Or is this a storyline? We're going to know a lot more. Trust me, we're going to know a lot more by next week. We're going to know if this is essentially going to be a case where, you know, in regards to how Becky Lynch made the announcement. Remember that? She pretty much made the announcement. We haven't seen her since. You see a little bit of her on social media and all that, but we haven't seen her since. So my whole thing is, let's see what happens next week. if you ask me for my 2 cents from a distance right now, I feel this is part of a story arc. And I'm a little bit concerned here about this story arc because I feel that Lacey Evans does not even need to be associated with this type of a story arc. Just the fact that she's associated with Ric Flair now, and you have her involved in this little feud that's including Charlotte Flair, that's enough as it is right there. I feel you don't need to go this route. Now, that's not my way of saying this is... No, actually, I'll go on record. I just feel it's a little bit beneath Lacey Evans to essentially go in this respective story arc. I do. This layer of it to this main chapter, I feel it's unnecessary. My biggest fear right now in regards to this story arc, and I gotta tell you, I feel that this story arc would actually be a detriment to Lacey Evans right now. Seriously, let me know what you think, but I feel it would be a detriment. I fear that this is going to go a comedic route. It's going to go a silly comedic route. And Lacey Evans has fought so hard. I mean, think about it. So hard over these past several months where she's getting to that point now where fans universally are getting behind her. They're appreciating her work. Yeah, at first, nobody was really down with that whole Southern tea with your biscuits. You know, nobody was really, down with that and everything. Unless you're an old school wrestling fan like me and a couple other people. Nobody's really down with that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I hear pregnant, and I think about Mae Young. I think about the Maria Kanellis joint. That's somewhat recent memory. Remember, Mae Young gave birth to 2 hands. She did do left and right. Only thing missing were the feet. She never did get a chance to do the feet. Surprised they didn't do the feet. But talk about a most bipolar moment on WWE RAW tonight. Because you see all these weeks of WWE programming and how Lacey Evans has essentially just, nasty. Just a kind of bar. She's been going in there just tearing it up. And now all of a sudden, just think about that for a second. It would be no different than me. Here's a perfect analogy. I meet this girl online. This never happened, by the way, but it's just an analogy. I meet this girl online. We're talking. She's a super freak. A mad super freak. Super freaky. Yeah, I had to go there. All right. She likes doing all this expletive stuff. She's kinky. Okay, yeah, I'm kinky. I'm into, and I'm just telling her how, man, I'm gonna fuck you up when I see you. I'm gonna tear it up, girl. I'm gonna tear it up good. I'm gonna do this. I'm talking this whole big old. I'm working it up now. Think what Lacey Evans has been doing in storyline. She's been working it up. Yeah, I'm that guy telling that girl what all I'm gonna do to her, and then when it finally comes time, I come over to her house. All right, get a couple of drinks, all that other stuff. All right, time to show the goods. All of a sudden, I go, oh, I got a cold. Oh, I don't feel too good, And it's kind of like, okay, well, you knew you were coming over like days in advance, a week in advance or whatever. Why didn't you, don't understand, why wait until you get here? You're looking at this girl right in the face, and then you feel where I'm coming from. So this just felt so goddamn bipolar. Not even funny. It'd be one thing if you can go back and you can look at several weeks of Lacey Evans content and go, well, damn, now that I think about it, she hasn't done a wrestling match since, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. So you know what? Yeah, well, what is going on here? Is she in some type of, concussion protocol or something like that because she hasn't wrestled in ages. What the hell's going on here? That'd be one thing but that's not the case at all. Right down to the point. Do your research. Right down to the point. Again, she did what she did tonight, but then rewind it. February 8th edition of Monday Night Raw. Remember, Lacey Evans, she defeated Charlotte Flair via DQ. Remember right before that, Lacey Evans was involved in the Battle Royal. That was on January 31st. Go to the January 25th edition of Monday Night Raw. Lacey Evans and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, they took on the team of Charlotte Flair, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose. You also, because they have filmed a second episode pretty much that same day, it looks like, or actually no, the date's just wrong. The week prior on Monday Night Raw, Charlotte Flair and Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose took on the team of Lacey Evans, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. January 11th, Monday Night Raw, Lacey Evans took on Charlotte Flair. Monday Night Raw, Legends Night, Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce took on Asuka and Charlotte Flair. See a pattern here? Sure is a lot of tag matches going on. I'll go a couple of more for you guys. Monday Night Raw of December 21st, 2020, Asuka, Charlotte Flair taking on Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce. Main event taping from December 14th, Nikki Cross took on Lacey Evans. And looks like going into Survivor Series 2020, Lacey Evans, Lana, Nia Jax, Peyton Royce, Shayna Baszler taking on Bayley, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Natalya, Ruby Riott. So yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see what happens next week, and we'll pretty much regroup from there. But those are my gut instincts right now, what it's telling me. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was noteworthy of Raw for this week. That was a nice sick-ass spot seeing Lashley come out there destroying the hell out of Matt Riddle. Oh yeah, don't we got a new 24/7 champion, by the way? Yeah, Bad Bunny is now the 24/7 champion. He got a little bit of help there from Damian Priest as they pretty much destroyed the hell out of who was it that they destroyed? I'm trying to think who was it that they destroyed? It was either R-Truth or it was, and I just remember R-Truth. I remember just shaking my head and walking out because I couldn't believe the silliness I was seeing. But I remember when I came back, Bad Bunny was the 24/7 champion. That much I do remember. Bad Bunny is the 24/7 champion. Hey man, he's making them some good money on the WWE website. More power to him. More power to him. His run right now as the 24/7 champion, I could care less. I thought things were more interesting when Pete Rosenberg was a 24/7 champion. Sad that didn't last as long as it did. Guys, was there anything else noteworthy of Raw you wanted me to maybe go over, give some thoughts on? Sound off in the chat, but otherwise, if you guys are good, overall, you went with the flow for tonight's show. Very underwhelming. That's the best way I can describe this episode tonight. If you didn't get a chance to watch it tonight, you ain't missed nothing. You're good. Just check out the highlights on YouTube or, maybe hop on the WWE Network and you guys will be all right. Seriously, you guys will be all right. Hey, want to get into some shout outs? Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio and video content, exclusive content like at that you won't be able to find anywhere else. By the way, speaking of exclusive content for our Patreon members, I had a class assignment in my TV/radio class, and the assignment that I had involved, it was a group workshop basically. So me and my group, we had to put a podcast together. We could talk about whatever we wanted to talk about, but basically we had to put out 3 podcasts, 10 minutes at length. Could be a little bit more, but basically 10 minutes at length. And, you know, it's almost kind of like a thesis, if you will, when you stop and think about it. Just kind of follow up on what we talked about earlier. And in this case, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the documentary, The Social Dilemma. If you haven't, it is now on Netflix for those of you that have Netflix. And I'm not talking about, because I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh no, The Social Dilemma is available on YouTube. That is not the social dilemma I'm talking about. This is a social dilemma, completely different, just completely different. You know, it may share the similar name, but completely different. No, the one on Netflix, you need to check that out. And it just really opens up your mind to a lot of what's going on out there in the dark web of social media, how your personal information is essentially being used against you without you really knowing it, and to realize what exactly is going on. It's very sickening. But me and my respected teammates in my group workshop, it was badass because, you know, they have learned over the course of the past couple of weeks. I've been doing podcasting for, you know, now, let's see, we started in 2011. So it's going to be our 10-year anniversary officially this November. And in those 10 years, I've edited audio for clients, done a lot of voice work, voice ads, things of that nature. So they pretty much were like, okay, well, Lee, we got a pro in Lee. We're going to be all right here. So the podcast that we put out there, it's not available anywhere else except through our professor. But I made the episodes be available for our Patreon members. So I mainly am handling things from a production standpoint. I do talk for a couple of minutes on each episode, but I'm mainly producing it and just letting them, because I told them, I said, I want you guys to just go in here, have fun with it, be loose with it, and the more loose you are, the better. So check it out for you Patreon members. It's actually episode 1. It's actually available right now for you guys to check out. So exclusive content like that you're not gonna be able to find anywhere else. Stuff like that. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Shout out to Anthony DeBlasi, Gino Morgan, Gino. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to J.D. Davis, Michael Wolf. Did I mention Justin Ripstock? Hopefully I did. So nice. I'll say it twice. Justin Ripstock. Shout out to my boy Tony Bean Gaming, one of the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers. For your tips, tricks, news, walkthrough guides, Tony Bean Gaming. Check him out. He's on YouTube. He's got a great Patreon paywall as well. Also want to give a shout out to one of our newest sponsors that we're going to be working with for the next couple of months, actually. It's a YouTube content creator, and he's got a great YouTube channel. It is called Wishful Walking Videos. That's his YouTube channel. Just do youtube.com/Wishful Walking Videos. This guy is badass. He is literally walking around some of the most coolest kick-ass parts in Los Angeles, California. He's hitting up all the beaches in Cali, and he's basically giving you that escape that you need from reality. Let's be honest, with what's going on with this pandemic and all these damn restrictions as far as going out, social distancing and all that, it definitely has put a big old anchor on traveling, has it not? So, you know, and even at that, it's, yeah, but I may get my shot, or I may have my shot, but that next person, they may not have it. And add on top of that, the coronavirus variants that's now officially here in the States. And so beautifully shot videos and 4K UHD, excellent surround sound. He pretty much gives you that escape from reality that you need. So check him out. He's got a phenomenal YouTube channel. When I need about 5 minutes of a mental decompressing, I just hop on his channel and I actually like his shit. So don't be surprised if you see my comments from time to time. That's how much I'm into his content myself. So check him out. Appreciate all of these people, because without their kind contributions, being our sponsors and all that, content like what you're checking out right now wouldn't be made possible. That's for damn sure. So let's get into a little bit of headlines here. See how long we've been recording now. We've been at it for about 52 minutes. So you know what, if we go about maybe an hour 15 minutes, I'm actually okay with that. I'm feeling pretty damn good. Haven't taken my sleep aid yet, so that's very excellent. Speaking of excellent, let's get into some black excellence for just a hot second. Michael Jordan, for instance. I see what he's doing. I see you, Mike. I see you. You hear about this? Michael Jordan decided he's going to donate $10 million to open up some new North Carolina health clinics. I love that. I love that. I love that. Seriously. At a time right now when it's really needed, that's good. That's good. You know, it's so nice to see Michael Jordan this stage in his career trying to do a lot more to help his brothers and sisters. It is. I mean, obviously, you know, we want to keep doing the whole LeBron James, Michael Jordan comparison. And look, I'll be the first to tell you guys that I grew up on Mike. I remember living in Chicago. I remember seeing the draft in which he, you know, North Carolina, when he was playing North Carolina college basketball. I remember the night when he got drafted to the Bulls, saw his entire run with the Bulls and all that, was there for all the championships. Was there for all the championships. Remember as if it were yesterday. Largely thanks in part to the last dynasty there. But LeBron, hands down, as far as what he's done for low-income neighborhoods, for brothers and sisters, I mean, he's gone above and beyond. And that's the one thing where Michael Jordan, you know, so to my point, it's nice to see him this late in the game. It's nice to see him get to that point of maturity in his life where he's starting to really give back to the community. That's badass. One other piece of Black excellent news I want to share with you guys each week. Since it's Black History Month, I'm going to share just 3 things that come to my mind as far as Black excellence, you know, paying it forward, as I always like to talk about on the show. From time to time, you'll hear me say something along the lines of forward, always forward, right? So to hear Michael Jordan doing that, the communities that's going to benefit from this tremendously, especially those that may have difficulty going to a health clinic as it is. You know, it's somewhat equivalent to, you know, just imagine you're living in the ghetto. If you had access to a grocery store that could give you your essentials, your dairy, your meat, your fruits, your vegetables, you'd be good to go. But no, you basically have a convenience store that's selling you shit. All right, so you're getting filled up with shit. You know, you're not getting your essentials. And you got liquor stores around the corner, all that little stupid shit. So to hear that you're going to be getting a clinic, you know, in a neighborhood where, okay, you know, nah, they really need it right here because they got to catch a bus or a couple of buses and a train or just a couple of buses, or they got to take a Uber for about 45 minutes just to get to this health clinic over here. That's what I mean when I say paying it forward and all that. Another good thing that jumped out to me this week that I want to give a mad shout out about, Wyoming has its first Black sheriff. How badass is that? Wyoming. This guy was appointed. His name is Aaron. Hopefully I'm pronouncing this last name right. Appelhans. But he's the first Black sheriff, and this pretty much went down after a result of unrest, you know, shooting. I'm sure you guys keep track of what's happening, you know, nationally in the states and all that. But yeah, he became the first Black sheriff. So as a sign of progress, That's great. That is significantly great. One other piece of black excellent news that I want to share with you guys. Actually, you know what? I think I might save that for next week. I'm gonna tease you guys with that for now. I'm gonna tease you guys with that for now. But staying kind of with, blackness for a hot second. If you haven't already, and you're a fan of Nicki Minaj, do yourselves a favor. Send her, because she's always active on social media, send her your thoughts and prayers. Her dad over the weekend was tragically killed in a hit and run incident. And, or accident, I should say. And what's really so fucked up about this, the person that hit and killed her dad did not stay at the scene. He actually fled. And police are doing the very best they can, but extremely limited information that they have right now. So anybody has any tips, information, you definitely want to send it her way. But definitely offer her and her family thoughts of prayers and strength. And hopefully the sick bastard that did that, they're going to be brought to justice. Yeah. My heart just ached when I heard that. It did. And there's nothing that infuriates me more than hearing about a person that has fled the scene of a hit and run. There's only a couple of reasons why an individual would not stay at the scene. You want to walk down that list real quick? 1, maybe they are a undocumented immigrant. Sad, but true. I don't say that to be disrespectful to any undocumented immigrants out there, because I know there's a lot of you undocumented immigrants. I get your story. It's all about coming to America, land of opportunity, trying to provide some type of financial stability for yourself, your family, especially if your family's here or your family is back home and you're trying to give them that support. I get that. I respect that. You're essentially doing the jobs that most Americans would not do. I get that. You have my utmost respect. You should be getting paid more for doing that job that those typical Americans don't want to do, as far as I'm concerned. At the same time, though, we definitely need to create a better path to citizenship as a result of these undocumented immigrants that are doing what they need to be doing. They're obeying all the laws, and the laws from the standpoint, they're not getting in trouble with the law. We should work out. I don't want to be here all night, but you get what I'm saying. But sadly, you've got undocumented immigrants that are not doing it right. They're getting in trouble with the law on, essentially more than one occasion, So 1, it could be an undocumented immigrant that did this. 2, more probable, it could be an individual that was intoxicated, possibly somebody that's been in trouble with the law before, numerous times on DUIs, suspended license, things of that nature, and they just keep doing that same stupid shit over and over and over again. So DUI, take your pick, alcohol, drugs, what have you. The third, legit, very slim to none, but the third possibility is that they were scared. They were just freaking scared, so scared, they hauled ass. But in either case, you learn this when you're taking your DMV classes. Stay at the scene, no matter what. Stay at the scene, no matter what. But when you're in those first 2 categories that I mentioned, the odds of you staying put likely ain't gonna happen, man. Likely ain't gonna happen. So definitely send your thoughts and prayers her way. I'm sure she'll definitely appreciate it. Also, thoughts and prayers go out to NFL standout Vincent Jackson. He was found dead in his Florida hotel room at the age of 38. Like, what the flying hell? Former Chargers, Buccaneers wide receiver Vincent Jackson had played for, 12 seasons in the NFL? Drafted in the second round of the 2005 NFL draft. That was just shocking. No news yet on what maybe the cause of death was or anything like that, but you just hear that somebody, 38, passing away. Crazy. That's all I gotta say. Just crazy. But I saw on the WWE Network last night, APA, Farouk Bradshaw story. Check it out when you guys get a chance. I'm not going to be long-winded and doing this happened, but just overall, watch it. It's 33 minutes, okay? So if you're kind of one of those guys, you got a little bit of a short attention span, you can't really hang in there. Think about it, and I don't blame you guys. You watch 3 hours of WWE RAW. You watch 2 hours of SmackDown. You watch 2 hours of NXT. You watch 2 hours, essentially, of AEW Dynamite. You're probably watching Impact Wrestling as well. You're probably watching AEW Dark. That's a lot of content. Heaven forbid there's a pay-per-view on a weekend. It's a lot of content that you're watching. So I don't blame you if, okay, as much as I want to watch this, I'm a little bit fried. I get that. This one is 33 minutes long. Put it in your rotation this week if you have not seen it yet, especially if you were a big fan of Farouk and Bradshaw. I loved it. If there's one thing that really stood out to me the most, because whenever I watch these WWE docs, I always go into it with the, tell me something I don't know. Case I don't know already, you know? Well, no. Tell me something I don't know. Don't tell me something that I already know. Just based off, okay, well, I lived through this in real time. You feel where I'm coming from? So for me, probably the one thing that really shined during this Untold story that I never really knew, but now I do, and I greatly appreciate it, is how much of a true brotherhood, a kinship that Bradshaw and Farouk had in real life. And that's why they just clicked so damn well together when they were the Acolytes or the APA. And for me, one of the things that was always nerve-wracking for me when I was watching Farouk in the WWE. By the way, they did talk about Farouk putting on that rubber blue helmet and that whole gladiator. They did talk about that, by the way. I won't spoil that for you guys, but yeah, he didn't enjoy that. I'll definitely say that. But, you know, the one thing that really stood out to me was how, from a frustrating standpoint, and I wish Farouk would have talked about it a little bit more. Farouk Ron Simmons. I wish he would have talked about it a little bit more, but it was always nerve-wracking to see him in the WWE not continue on that path of a singles run like he had done in WCW, where he became the first World Heavyweight Champion. And I always just kind of shook my head like, you know, how did we miss that? Why did we miss that? You know, and in order to really kind of understand and appreciate that, you really got to go back and just look at what all was going on during that period of time. But then even at that, you could still essentially make the argument, he definitely should have had one run in there. Why did it never happen? You know? But for Ron Simmons to be at a point in his life while he was still wrestling in the WWE, okay, I know that despite the great physical shape that I'm in, Father Time isn't really on my side. And as a result of that, it's all about these younger guys that are essentially going to get elevated more and everything. And he saw a lot of upside in Bradshaw. He truly felt that Bradshaw was going to be a big breakout star. And he did such a phenomenal job in not sabotaging that in any way and really taking Bradshaw under his wing and showing him, all the ins and outs of the business. And as a result of that, again, a brotherhood, a great bond blossomed as a result of that, because both men shared similar tastes, interests, hobbies, and it just, I know we've got Bully Ray and Devon Dudley, and I mean, you can legit feel that kinship, that brotherhood. But man, by the time you get done watching Untold, you just can't help but say, man, I wish that as far as brother from another mother, I wish I had that kind of friend in Ron Simmons, or I wish I had that kind of friend in Bradshaw. And that for me is what really has shined the most. I remember Ron Simmons' Hall of Fame speech, Bradshaw pretty much being the inductee presentator and everything, but it didn't quite click. It didn't quite register with me back then. For whatever respected reason, I didn't really, man, they really got a true brotherhood, a true kinship. It didn't really sink in then, but watching this, it definitely hit very close to home for me. Probably also the other thing that really stood out to me the most, not to get long-winded, at one point during Untold, I don't know if it was Vince McMahon or whoever, but the idea had came about where when APA were doing their thing, hey, let's maybe toy around with the idea of racial equality. And, they almost kind of wanted to, touch that button, of racial equality. And Ron Simmons said, no, man, we don't even need to go down that route. Absolutely not. We're not going down that route. And like, why? Because it's not necessary. It's not needed. What we're doing as it is, that's enough. And that wasn't his way of just spitting on it or anything like that. He just felt that, no, with everything that me and Bradshaw have been through, what we're doing on the screen, behind the scenes, we don't need to go down that path. And Ron Simmons, to his point, felt very vindicated because one day him and Bradshaw were, I think it was actually Ron Simmons that was maybe traveling alone. And some fans, they saw him. I don't know if it was at an airport or what, but it was somewhere at a public event. And somebody said, hey, it's Ron Simmons. He's part of those twins. The APA, he's part of those twins. And for him, that was like the greatest compliment that he could get, because his whole thing was, those fans get it. They don't see color. That was his whole thing. So check it out. It was really, really, I'm telling you, you just walk away and you go, damn. Let me put some respect on that. Damn. That's how you really come away. But it was good shit. Yeah, that came out not too long ago, by the way. I think it had came out, it felt like it came out maybe around February 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere around there. So still relatively new. So if you don't know, now you know. Also, wrestling related news. Let's continue to stay on topic with regards to some wrestling related news here. Taya Valkyrie, reports are being put out there that she has officially signed with WWE. Remember, we talked about this last week, did we not? So she's expected to be named pretty soon in the next conference call, basically, where they're going to go over the newest NXT future star signings, basically. Her name is expected to be announced and everything. And if you guys recall, there was an episode of NXT, I don't know if it was from last week or 2 weeks ago, but it was definitely recently, where she was in attendance. They showed her and everything, very similar to what they did with John Morrison that had people talking, remember? So that's good. That's good. Honestly, I can't wait to see what she's going to be able to do down there in NXT. Honestly, give me Taya off the break. Give me Taya Valkyrie, Shotzi Blackheart, Taya Valkyrie, Mercedes Martinez. Whew, mamma mia. Give me Taya Valkyrie, Rhea Ripley before she... Please, I gotta see that. I got to see that. But man, you could do some badass combinations down there. For sure, Io Shirai, Taya Valkyrie. Oh my God, Raquel Gonzalez and Taya Valkyrie. Man, you got some great matchups at your disposal with Taya there, man. Some great matchups there. Hana Kimura's mother recently announced that she's going to be organizing a tribute show for her daughter, her late daughter. It's going to be happening in May. The event is going to be called See You Again, the Hana Kimura Memorial Show. It'll take place on May 23rd, 1-year anniversary of her tragic passing. Remember, she passed away at the age of only 22. So more details on that event as it comes closer. Also, there's a new promotion that's going to be launching later this month. I know, right? You guys are like, Lee, watch enough wrestling as it is. I can't take any more. I hear you, but if you're one of those people that got a big old sponge of a mind and you just love getting all your wrestling fix, or maybe you're a little bit tired of some of what you're seeing from some promotions. I get that. That's why I'm mentioning this. There's a new promotion that's going to be debuting called Enjoy Wrestling. And they're going to be presenting a canned Heat Series tournament. They're going to be debuting their first show. It's actually going to be happening next week with a 4-episode series that's going to feature a tournament. They're based out in Pittsburgh, PA. And this is going to be premiering February 25th. That's Thursday, February 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can check it out on YouTube. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday. You'll be able to check it out on YouTube. So if you guys are actually going to be checking it out, let me know. Maybe we could actually do some type of a hangout or something. Competitors that's been announced for the tournament so far: MV Young, Willow, Nightingale, Solo Darling, Ziggy Ham, Mr. Grimm, Still Life, Lee Morati, Sean Phoenix. So I'm actually going to check it out. So for those of you that may be, let me hear what you got to say about it first, Lee. I got your hookup. Don't worry. I'll have your hookup. Davey Boy Smith Jr. been making some headlines. He recently announced that WWE is in fact going to be holding a WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. They do plan on doing it during WrestleMania weekend. And I mean, this shouldn't be breaking news or anything, but he also touched on the fact that his dad, British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. As it stands now, Davey Boy Smith Jr. is working on the acceptance speech. He knows that his sister, and his mother, they definitely will be there to accept the Hall of Fame induction of their dad slash, husband and everything, father, all that. So good stuff right there. Now, for those of you that might be a little bit curious, so they're bringing back the Hall of Fame. So what's going to be going on with the fans? Well, the way it's looking right now, fans are going to be able to participate in this Hall of Fame virtually, kind of like what's going on right now with the whole Thunderdome and CWC Arena, and all that is just basically going to be virtual when it's all said and done. So I'm looking forward to it. Long time coming, honestly. Let's talk about the Casey Kavanaghzaro fiasco. By now, I'm sure you guys know about this, but for those of you that's been under a rock, she came under great scrutiny for a video that was shared of her at a club in Florida. I think Alexa Bliss might have been in there as well. I'm not really sure. She looked very similar to Alexa Bliss, but all said and done, Casey Kavanaghzaro was with friends at this bar / nightclub, if you will, no mask, just having a good old time and everything. And fans were just livid when they saw this, when they were chewing her ass out. Figuratively, of course. So she posted a response, and I thought it was a really good response. I really, really did. And leave it to social media because, and this is one of the things that we talk about on the podcast that you can hear on Patreon. You know, we talk about the pros and cons of social media, and this is kind of one of the things that we had talked about here. Not Casey specifically, but the whole situation as far as, you know, the good and the bad that comes from social media. The bad being everybody is a critic. Everybody has this access, and everybody feels that they're, to a certain extent, some type of an authoritative figure on what's right, what's wrong, etc. Now, before you jump to conclusion and say, oh, Lee supports what's going on in Florida, not so fast. So Casey first said this when this video was floating around and everything. She said, what's up, Twitter? I just wanted to get on here and be able to talk to everyone for a minute. I know that people are concerned that I was at a restaurant over the weekend. I want everyone to know that I hear you and I appreciate the concern. Here where I live in Florida, restaurants are open to a certain capacity. We wear a mask when we go in, when we leave, really anytime that we aren't sitting down at our table. We have to have a mask. But when we are sitting down to eat or drink, we are allowed to take our mask off. And I know that that's the part that people saw that people were upset with. I'm sorry for anybody that is upset. Y'all with me so far? I understand your concern. And what I want you to know is that I do care about the safety of others around me and myself, and I follow all of the protocol. Luckily for me, with work, we get tested at least once a week, if not twice sometimes. And I carry my hand sanitizer and my clear hair with me every time that we have to. I wear my mask. I'm sorry that this moment made people think otherwise, but I just want you to know that I hear you. I appreciate the concern. I'm looking out for the safety of concerns of others around me, as well as trying to take care of myself the best I can. And I wish the best for everybody else. Now, if you're lucky enough, you may have saw my response to this video that she had posted. And I saw all the people that were just going in and essentially, you know, look what I said to that bitch. High five. You know, I saw that silly little stupid shit that was going on. And I said to Casey, this is about 99.9% accurate. Forgive me if I don't go scrolling through my tweets to actually, but this is 99.9% accurate for anybody that wants to maybe look at my timeline, see what I had said to her. I said to her in a nutshell, you've got nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody that is greatly offended, disgusted, irritated, shouldn't even be directing all of this towards you. They need to be directing it towards the governor of Florida, Mr. Santos. They need to be directing it to the mayors of each respected city in Florida. That's where all of that level of irritation and frustration needs to be going towards. Because, my God, long-time listeners, how many times have I told you about Florida? Right down to the point, I've said to you guys time and time again, don't believe me, go check out the archives. I've said time and time again, Tams will tell you, I'm glad we're no longer having anything to do with Florida. Because when the pandemic first went down last year, and we were watching what was going on in Florida. Remember, last year, me and the missus, we were supposed to get married. But because COVID went in full effect, we said, okay, we got to see how this COVID shit is going to play out because this doesn't look good. And back then, we were supposed to get married in May. We were supposed to get married, if I remember it right, I'm about I'm about 75%. I'm a little iffy though. I believe we were supposed to get married May 20th of last year, if that's the time frame. And I just remember leading up to May, we were looking at all the shit that was going on, specifically in Florida. We were looking at the COVID case numbers. We were looking at how officials and everybody was handling it. And we were just appalled. This was a year ago, folks. And I believe it was by about, if not late March, probably right at the beginning of April, we decided, okay, you know what? Fuck this. Because we did not like how Florida was operating. And in the months since, we continued to see Florida in the news. Right before this shit went down with Casey, there was a video that was floating around on social media that was picking up a lot of traction. It was of a grocery store in Florida where nobody had a mask on. Nobody had a mask on. Employees, customers, nobody had a mask on. And the guy that owned the store, oh my God, boy, was he a special guy. Did he have a couple of screws loose? He seemed like the type of guy that'll tell you 9/11 was the result of the Mars company running out of Snicker candy bars that day. And yeah, I mean, he seemed like the type that would be way out there. Okay. So that was very frustrating. Livid would be an understatement. But again, we have people that live in Florida and we can't really shit on them. They should know better. All the science is there. But they are essentially being enabled by the politicians that are down there from the bottom up. And, no mask required. No, we're going to open up, no, we're not going to do no curfew. No, everybody go ahead on to the beaches, enjoy yourselves, all this other shit. And that's why you continue to see in the case of Florida, last I had checked, I don't know where it is now, but Florida, last I saw, was ranked number 4 in highest amount of COVID cases and all that. I don't know about fatalities, but as far as cases, COVID cases, they're number 4 in the U.S. as far as states go. So again, to my point, Casey had nothing to be ashamed of. There was really nothing. She didn't have to be apologetic whatsoever about this. It's Florida. She's essentially being enabled by. Now, look, I appreciate her letting her base know and those that want to be critics and everything. I appreciate her, really putting a stamp down and letting everybody know what the deal is. But I guess that answer did not suffice, as people were still coming at her with all that venom. And this sadly led up to another post that she put out there where she said, "I'm sorry for anybody that is upset. And I understand your concern, and I want you to know I do care about the safety of others around me and myself, and I follow that protocol." Again, luckily for me, with work, we get tested at least once a week, if not twice sometimes. So, she goes into all of this in this one post that she puts out there, and she still continues to get scrutinized. And she decides, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm just going to go on ahead and deactivate my Twitter account. Now, she still has her Instagram account, but she just decided, you know what? Bump this. This is the type of social media toxicity that I have been talking about for years now. Years upon years, I've been talking about this. Where on the one hand of social media, it's a beautiful thing because you're able to connect with so many people from around the world. You're able to, that grandma that you haven't seen in 19 years, because she's in Canada or whatever, traveling is just difficult. You're able to just get on your favorite social media app. use your cell phone to text nan and all that, and boom, you're connected. You're able to rekindle friendships from junior high or elementary school, or it's awesome. This technology that we have at our disposal, it's extra awesome. This beautiful thing that we have known as social media. A lot of us use social media to get our real-time news and information. It's very beautiful. But then we've got these ugly parts like what I'm describing now, where everybody feels this self-entitlement because they're following their favorite athlete, they're following their favorite singer, they're following their favorite musician, you name it. And because they have that direct connection to said person on social media, they feel that in some weird, twisted form, that this person's success and everything that's come with it, they would not be where they are because of fans like me. And heaven forbid, said celebrity or said insert name does something that does not meet your standards. You're going to be quick to go on social media, and not you guys specifically, but you know what I'm talking about, and scrutinize, throw shade, and all of this other stuff. And a toxicity just manifests as a result of this. You know, so in some cases, you see the beautiful inner workings of social media, but then you see the negative aspects and how a bunch of people are able to just pile up on somebody. In this case, Casey, one of the most nicest, harmless little people that's out there. I've checked out her social media joint a couple of times. I make my rounds from time to time, seeing with different folks, wrestling community, those that actually work in the business. I once in a while, I'll see what they're talking about and everything. Casey's so bubbly, positivity, just wants to have a good time, enjoy life and everything. And why are we reducing her to that? It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. It makes me disappointed. It really does. And so, look, if she decides she never wants to activate her Twitter account again, good. Honestly, I say that's a good thing. Keep your Instagram. And, that's the beautiful thing about Instagram. Anything that you post, I know there's a little comment thing. You can actually turn that off. That little cartoon bubble. You can actually turn that off so that people won't comment. Now, sadly, Instagram, I believe you can send people DMs or some shit like that. So, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, with the whole DM setup, it's basically a case where not everybody can drop in your DM. They may try to send you something, but you essentially, am I right, guys? You have to basically give permission on Instagram to allow that person to send you whatever they're trying to send you. I believe that's how it works. So, I mean, she's got more control over there than she does. Honestly, though, I think that's giving too much power to those that felt the way that they felt. Honestly, what she should have done, and this is the one cool feature that I love about Twitter. I will say this much about Twitter, the one thing that they did get right. I love the fact that, and I am aware of the time, we can go extra couple of more minutes. I feel pretty good here tonight. So how long we been going now? Hour 31. We're almost done, guys. I'd say I'm probably going to talk maybe about 7-10 more minutes, and we'll just pretty much call this show done. But there's a beautiful thing that I love about Twitter now, where when you put out a post, as you're putting it together, you can now control who responds to that post. So, for instance, if I just want my followers, those that are officially following my Twitter account, they can respond. Or I can have that post set up to where only specific people that I tag, at, can only respond to that post. Or if I want, I can have nobody be able to respond to that post. If I want to make a very valid point about something and I don't want nobody to come in and throw in their 2 cents, I can just disable it all and just post what I need to post, and then I'm done. It's a beautiful thing about that social media, at least for Twitter. I love that. But for me, I get where she's coming from. But when you do something like that, you're giving those people, especially those that are not using social media right, and they are coming at it from a toxicity standpoint, you're giving them too much control. You're giving them too much power. And to that, I say, no, take back your power. You're using social media at the end of the day, Casey Kavanaghzaro, you're using it to promote yourself. You are a brand. You are a business with what you are able to do every single week that you are on WWE television. There are fans that want to be connected to you, and any opportunities that they have of connecting with you and legit, they're doing social media right and everything. You should not rob them one, you shouldn't rob yourself of the opportunity to continue to spread wealth of information, basically everything that's connected to your brand, your likeliness. You understand what I'm saying, Casey? And anybody else that's kind of struggling with social media, never give in this type of form. If you've reached a point with social media where I'm done, I just can't take it anymore, the toxicity is just up to here, I got to bow out. I totally respect that. I get that. Then bow out. But not like this. Of all the things that you could just end social media, a social media presence on, don't end it like this. So hopefully at a later date when she feels it's convenient, and of course what's best for her, hopefully she'll reconsider bringing back her Twitter account, but just going in with some of those precautions. And, honestly, if it were me, I would definitely consider maybe starting up a new Twitter account from scratch, getting it Twitter verified, which will be very easy to do. Get that blue check mark real quick. And in the whole process, make it be a private account, and manually, Casey or anybody else having similar problems, manually go in. Anybody that sends you a friend request, you're manually going in and approving them one by one. I know there's little automated systems that's floating around and all that, but for me personally, since 2011, when it's come to me in social media, I'm proud to say every single follower that I've ever come across, I have personally gone out of my way to look at their profile, establish whether or not they're a bot. If they're a bot, if they're a adult film star, I don't know what the hell it is, but I usually get adult film stars that follow me, and I don't even follow no fucking porn companies. I do one interview with Nina Hartley and Kendra Luss, and I'm forever linked to porn for some of these porn actors for some reason. I don't get that shit, but I typically block porn actors. I block bots and a whole bunch of shit. I even block private accounts, because my whole thing is, well, wait a minute. That's not fair. I'm posting what I'm able to post. You all are seeing it. It's not hidden. Why are you private? It's one thing if you send me a private message, say, hey, Lee, or it's out in the open, hey, Lee, I'm getting ready to follow you. I just want you to know I'm getting ready to follow you, but my account is private because, all right, if it's a work sensitive thing or something like, okay, I can respect, but at least you're giving me the courtesy. At least you're giving me a heads up. And now when I see that Julio, following 3 people, has 2 friends, account is private. Yeah, I passed, dog. Nah, I ain't interested, dog. Whatever you got, I ain't interested. To each its own. But I have manually gone in. Let me tell you something. If I really, truly did not give a fuck, like most people do with their social media accounts, there's a reason why some people have the amount of followers that they have is because they just, oh yeah, follow, yeah, the numbers look good. They're all about the numbers. What do I always tell you on this show? Quality over quantity. Remember that. I even apply that to social media. I would rather have a low follower base of actual people that, for the most part, using social media right, even when there's a disagreement, very cordial about that disagreement. I would rather have a low follower account than a bombastic high number of followers that's basically filled with spam bots and shit. Do you feel me? That's where I come from. Some food for thought. But yeah, a lot of toxicity there. Let's see. Let's go out on this note. This is going to be the last thing I'm going to touch upon, and that's pretty much going to be it. By the way, let me man, this whole time that I've been live on the air, I never did change the thumbnail for the show here. I am so sorry, guys. For you guys that's watching on YouTube. Yeah, we're streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter right now. There you go for you guys on YouTube. I don't know if you want to maybe refresh, but you can see the thumbnail now. One quick thing, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this Wednesday night. I see that Sammy Guervara had some interesting little developments there with Impact Wrestling. You guys that saw AEW from last week, you're aware that in the storyline, Sammy Guevara quit the Inner Circle, and now we're getting some news that apparently Impact Wrestling had worked out a deal with AEW where they were supposed to acquire the talents of Sammy Guevara for a little bit. And there was an interesting story arc that was developed, and the first go round with whatever was being pitched from Impact side to AEW and how to do the proper utilization of Guevara, Tony Khan and I believe Jericho said, nah, we don't want to go that route. Impact Wrestling decided to go back to the drawing board, came up with something else. Khan and Jericho loved it. Guevara loved it. But then when it came time for Guevara to show up for the tapings and everything, he decided, you know what, instead of going in this direction, I don't want to do that. Let's go with this instead. And that had rubbed people at Impact the wrong way. Tony Khan and Jericho were talked to about this. And supposedly an arrangement was made where, okay, well, tell you what. We'll just say that Sammy Guevara is banned from ever working with you guys at Impact. Sorry for the inconvenience and everything. You don't have to worry about him ever again. Y'all just don't work with him. Basically they did this to maintain the little partnership that they have going on. You know what? Not for nothing, but I think that look, first of all, I would love to hear Sammy in his own words. If this is true, I would love to hear Sammy, whether it be on Jericho's podcast or the AEW Unrestricted podcast. I would love to get his take on everything that had went down for the record. And, I don't know if it's going to happen though, but I would love to hear in his own words what all had went down. What exactly was being pitched and everything. Honestly, for me, it's not asking too much. It couldn't have been that ridiculous. I mean, if it was Ethan Page, Karate Man type silliness, okay, I get that. But, if you're on the side of Impact Wrestling in a nutshell, Impact has taken so much from AEW. From the standpoint of AEW's coming in with their little ad breaks, insulting Impact Wrestling, and then they're coming in with Private Party, and there's all this. I'm gonna say it, and I'm sorry if it sounds crude, but I'll give you head. Sure, go ahead. Oh, I'll do anything you want me to do. Yeah. And then when it comes your time for reciprocation, you're not getting it. And in this kind of instance right here, assuming that it's true, it just feels so, there's a lot of, we'll take that. We'll take that. We'll take that. We'll take that. But when it comes time to give back, there's very little. You feel me? So that, kind of have that in the back of your head there. WWE having some issues. Once again, they're making the news with regards to third party, the whole third party fiasco. I'm not sure if you had heard about this, but they're reportedly issuing violations for social media posts naming third parties. So WWE is issuing violations to talent who name third party businesses, people, brand, or charities. WWE is claiming ownership of talent, Twitter and Instagram accounts via contract clause that gives WWE exclusive use of their likeliness. According to the site, violations start with a warning, followed by a fine, and then finally suspension. Now, it's not clear right now exactly how restrictive this is. If this is just in relation to sponsored posts that can earn the talent money, or if it goes beyond that. It was noted that it's been made clear to those talent who have complained about the current flexibility that has been allowed to post on social media could be retracted by WWE. And remember that statement that WWE had put out last year with regards to the whole third parties and all. They said, just to remind you guys, this is from last year, much like Disney and Warner Brothers, WWE creates, promotes, and invests in its intellectual property, i.e. the stage names of performers like The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Big E, and Braun Strowman. It is the control and exploitation of these characters that allows WWE to drive revenue, which in turn enables the company to compensate performers at the highest levels in the sports entertainment industry. Notwithstanding the contractual language, it is imperative for the success of our company to protect our greatest assets and establish partnerships with third parties on a company-wide basis rather than at the individual level, which as a result will provide more value for all involved. Now, I'm like this. On the one side, and I don't even need to be long-winded on this. I can make my point on this in like 3 minutes tops. I really don't need to be long-winded. Got no problem revisiting this on the next show if you all want me to. But I'm like this. I get from WWE standpoint, hey man, we don't want our talents that hook up with a bad third-party company and, like let's say a video game developer. We got this video game, blah, blah, blah. And, basically they holler at some WWE star that has a joint set up on their Cameo page, or they DM the WWE star and say, hey, man, we think you'd be a good spokesperson for our video game that's going to be dropping soon. We'll pay you $1,000 to cut a 30-second video explaining to people why they should download this game in the Play Store and blah, blah, blah. And that said WWE superstar, yeah, give me that money. And the game turns out to be not only a piece of shit, but without you knowing it, it installs some type of weird spyware. And now you got this whole big old fiasco that's going on. Just imagine if there was a multi-class action lawsuit. Not only would WWE be part of that lawsuit, but that freaking WWE star would be part of that lawsuit as well. So I get from that kind of standpoint, if you want to look at it as that from WWE, I totally get that. But then on the other side, I look at it and I just say to myself, Jesus Christ, why not just, if it's a really good, reputable company, why not just say with regards to that WWE star, look, you're allowed to go get yourself some third-party deals and everything. First off, they got to be approved by us. So anybody, third-party individual, entity or whatever, if they're interested in doing business with you, you've got to, damn, that scared me with the Chung Lee, man. They've got to pass along their information to us. You need to fill out this form, fill out all the information. We process it and, we review it. Our decision is final on whether or not you can work with them or not. Right? That's step one. And then step two, okay, you get the green light. You can go ahead. You can work with said company. All right. Now that you can work with said company, WWE just take a certain percentage. And hey, if you want to have that count against their downside, hopefully you don't. But basically, and I say you don't because this is, an extra source of revenue that's coming in that WWE could essentially capitalize on. So again, we go back to that WWE talent. Now let's say it's a really good game developing company that, all their P's and Q's, everything, dots, I's, everything's crossed. Flying colors, good reputable game development company and everything. And all right, they want to work with Xavier Woods. All right, Xavier Woods, this is not G4 related or anything like that. Okay, so obviously fill out the form, give it to WWE. WWE's doing their little respected research and it's pending. It comes back. It's clear. All right, so Xavier, these guys said they were going to pay you $1,000 for cutting a 30-second video promoting this video game that's going to be dropping soon. Okay, tell you what, this is what we're going to do. That $1,000 that they're willing to pay you, we want 25% of that. Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. You either pay us that or we fine you, blah, blah, blah. And we'll also fine you in violation of your contract agreement. I think that's the better way to do it. But see, you're left with the impression that WWE is trying to do this bigger, grand scheme of things where ultimately WWE Twitch official channel, WWE Cameo, where the stars will entertain you. They're trying to have their hand in so many cookie jars. You feel where I'm coming from? If you're that wrestler in WWE, and obviously this should not apply to those in NXT and those that are at the performance, hands down, it should not apply to them. But, if you're that WWE star and you're like, what the hell? I'm doing everything by the book and 25%, that's reasonable. WWE's cut, 25%, that's very reasonable. But what I feel WWE is trying to do is put themselves in a position where, no. We want 80% or we want 90% of that pie and we just give 10% to the talent. That's where until I'm proven wrong otherwise, that's how it's kind of feel. I don't understand why they just can't do business the way I'm suggesting it. It's a win-win situation, constant cash flow positive. Just imagine when you go into your next quarter reports, how you're able to say, hey, we were able to pick up this extra stream of revenue as a result of our talents working with third-party companies such as Cameo, working with this, working with that. But then you also got to think about how everything ultimately intertwines with Peacock. I got to do Coming to America again. Aha! So marinate on that for a few ticks. Marinate on that. We had got a super chat. That's why I had got the earlier. Hey, Gino. Much love, man. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate that. I'm feeling pretty damn good. I'm still feeling good. I'm still feeling very energized. There's one other topic that we did not bring up. And I hate to I'll get into the topic now. I'm going to have a nice short version of it. I'll ask you guys on Wednesday night if you want me to expand upon it more. You remember what I said earlier about me not being so and very reflective and lionizing the death of Pat Patterson. You remember that? weeks ago. I had people on social media, Lee, I understand. And I kind of teased it a little bit, and people weren't really sure what I was talking about. We left some kind of, what the hell? Now, for those of you that remember me reviewing the Pat Patterson documentary from a couple of weeks back, I think somebody had asked if the allegations were brought up. I know when I was chatting with some people in the Discord, I know somebody had brought that up, and I said, no, they did not cover that. Well, an accuser in the 1980s WWE sexual misconduct scandal reportedly committed suicide. You guys may recall a man by the name of Tom Cole. He was one of the key accusers in the Ring Boy scandal that saw WWE hit with sexual misconduct allegations in the late 80s and the early 1990s. He passed away due to suicide, according to his brother. And Lee Cole, Tom Cole's brother, had posted on Twitter Friday stating that Tom took his own life and blasted Vince and Linda McMahon for their alleged role in the matter. He said on Twitter, and I quote, "My brother Tom committed suicide a couple of hours ago. Vince McMahon and his wife Linda let child molesters into their companies years ago and did everything possible to cover up what they did to my brother. I hope you can sleep good at night, Vince. Our family suffers. Thank you." Now, he went on to share a video of an interview with Tom as well as others. There were details of the allegations. Tom Cole had worked as a ring boy in the late 1980s and early 1990s, and eventually he had accused Terry Garvin and announcer Mel Phillips, remember Mel Phillips, of sexual harassment and more. And he stressed that in a 1999 interview that Garvin offered him a warehouse job, drove him to Garvin's house, claiming his wife and kids were there. Well, turns out they weren't there. He said he'd forgotten that his family was in Florida. How you forget that is beyond me. Cole alleged that Garvin played a pornographic video and offered to perform oral sex on him. Cole refused, and Garvin refused to take him home, resulting in Cole sleeping in Garvin's van. When Garvin dropped him off at the warehouse the next day, Phillips told him that Garvin no longer wanted him to work there. Cole also made allegations that Phillips sexually harassed him as well, and said that Pat Patterson grabbed his buttocks. Eventually, a court settlement was reached with the company, and Garvin and Phillips were fired. Vince McMahon said in a 1992 interview with Larry King that he had no knowledge of the alleged incidents. Now, it was not proven whether or not Pat Patterson had a hand in this whole ring boy thing that was going on. But if you guys also recall, I mean, this was really cooking up. There was that time where the very first go round, Pat Patterson left WWE. And remember what I had said a couple of weeks ago. I said the one thing about that whole Pat Patterson documentary, here he is in his own words. Okay, if it ain't true, this is your time. Better now, never again. Set the record straight. Clear the air. Clear your name. And, I mean, they didn't even mention it. They just act like that whole fucking chapter in Pat Patterson's life never even happened. Never happened. I'm sorry, but you get accused of something like that, you're going to be angry, and you're going to be very passionate about defending yourself and everything, because, especially if it's not true. Yeah. So, hearing that, and rumor has it that Vince McMahon had paid Tom Cole $2,000 hush money. No. $20,000. Forgive me, guys. I believe it was $20,000 of hush money, essentially. And it had got to a point where everybody was trying to interview Tom, left and right. And Vince basically paid this guy $20,000 hush money. Keep your mouth shut. Hey, look, use this time, go move somewhere else, somewhere where people don't know you, where people can't find you. Because where he was originally, when he was putting all these stories out there, people, reporters wise, they knew where he lived and they were going to him for interviews left and right. Now, he was quiet for a little bit, but he continued to speak the gospel, if you will, about, hey, this had happened to me, this had happened to other boys, what the hell, this ain't right. And when Pat Patterson was lionized after his death, according to Tom's brother, this apparently had triggered his depression even more. So all these years he's been battling depression, trying to cope with what had happened to him and everything. And he's already been dealing with such a stressful life, dealing with that clinic depression and all that. It went to that next level. And ultimately he took his own life. So the brother is now looking at what type of legal course of action is at his disposal, whether or not he would be able to do anything. He's trying to see if he might be able to do something, by taking WWE to court and everything. I don't really know how far he'd be able to get with that. I don't think he'd be able to get that far at all with regards to that. Look, thoughts, condolences definitely go out to that family. I know they're suffering right now. Look, you're talking to somebody that deals with anxiety. Also, you're talking to somebody who at one point very antisocial. I did not like being around other people. Heaven forbid I go into, back in the day, heaven forbid I go into a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods, and there's so many people there. And I'm freaking the hell out, and I literally turn right back around and I go back to the car. Tams will tell you the stories. It was really, really bad. What you see of me over the years with Awesome Con and everything, just little by little, it had started, finally chipping away and everything. But I still deal with that antisocialness to this day. I still deal with it in some shape or form, but the anxiety is always there as well. That's something that's honestly going to be a part of me for the rest of my life. I got better at communicating how I'm feeling to people so that they can understand what's going on, because for some people, what they might perceive as me being an asshole, I'm not being an asshole. I'm dealing with something eternally, emotionally, and you got to give me my space and let me be able to work it out. You can't force, I got to work it out myself. And once in a while I'll deal with depression, but not on the level of nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. More of like a melancholy type of, the usual depression that most people get. Nothing ever suicidal or anything like that. So I can relate to a certain degree of what Tom may have been going through and everything. And I heaven forbid if there was never a therapist in the picture that could help this young man along the way. There's no telling what the end result, if it still would have been the same or if it would have been a lot different for him. But the one thing I do want to stress, anybody that is clinically dealing with some type of depression, anxiety, trust me, you're not alone. If you don't feel comfortable talking to that loved one, there's toll-free numbers you can call. There's counselors you can call. I mean, we're in a day and age now where you could connect to counselors via Zoom, Skype, app in the App Store, and all. Utilize those bad boys, please. I can't stress it enough. I can't. And, for him to take his own life, I mean, that should tell you a lot right there as far as, some people, boy who cried wolf. He just bull. For things to culminate the way that they did, that should definitely tell you, maybe Tom was maybe he was on to something there. And I mean, I'm quite surprised that this has not created such a wildfire this week for many podcasts, for many websites. That's the saddest tragedy of it all. Is this is going to be one of those cases where, oh, that's unfortunate, and people are going to just quietly move along. So what Impact Wrestling doing this week? I mean, that's really what's going to be happening. But, I think now more than ever is a really good time for, and look, I'm going to make a bold prediction. And if I get an opportunity, and I probably will, because I've been very cool with them these past couple of years. The Dark Side of the Ring boys? I know you guys like when I interview those guys. I promise you, if and when, it's definitely a matter of when I get another opportunity to sit down and interview them, I will ask them if they've considered, maybe for a future season, covering this whole fiasco, especially now that it's very, the cement on the sidewalk is very wet right now with this whole Tom Cole situation. I'm very curious. I bet you $100. That this is something that, but they're going to tread lightly, because you're going to be opening up some wounds there. You're going to be opening up a big old Pandora's box that could possibly have some serious ramifications. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But now more than ever, this needs to be revisited. There should be a revision. There should be a retrospect. My challenge to those of you that are veteran podcasters, my challenge to those of you that write articles for Rolling Stones, Daily Motion, Sports Illustrated, things of that nature, all you guys that say you're about good journalism and all of this, yet at the same time, every time we turn around, you've got your hands in the WWE pocketbook and you're putting out these glowing, awesome things and everything. Let's see you do some real journalistic homework right here. And let's see you dig down in this, bring this up to surface to get a new generation of wrestling fans talking. Forbes, particularly, I'm definitely looking at you. But, yeah. So, programming notes this week. Wednesday night, new RCWR show. Be there. I'll put a poll up Tuesday on my way to work. I forgot last week, but I'm definitely going to do it this week, asking you guys, you want me to talk NXT? Or do you want me to talk, because by the time, let me look here. I'm looking at my, so I got class Wednesday night, but I have a feeling I'll be getting out early. So I think I'll be able to watch both shows, but I'm going to put a poll up just in case, asking you guys, hey, which show you want me to review? Just to make sure in the event I get out my Wednesday night class late, I already know which show you guys want me to talk about, right? So that's how we'll do that. I'm going to have some more content uploading on the Patreon page this week, so stay tuned for that. I will be uploading a new Impact Showdown. I'll be giving my thoughts about the No Surrender Impact Plus event and what's been going on recently in Impact Wrestling. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to drop later this week. Remember, Sunday, we've got, Friday, I'll be doing a new RCWR show. We'll be talking SmackDown, Fallout, any other little trinkets of wrestling news that went down. We'll also go over some headlines, pay-per-view predictions. So that's Friday night. That's going to be fun. Everything will culminate into Elimination Chamber Sunday. There will be a post-show covering that. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be good. Meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes available that you may have missed on demand and the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Check out that 8th annual Slow Jamming with Lee event. Again, was getting a lot of praise for it. Check it out. You've been with me this far live. Thank you. please, on your way out, hit the like button, share, keep the comments coming in, subscribe. It helps tremendously, especially those of you that's checking the show out via YouTube. When you hit that like, it lets YouTube know you like the content, helps them out as far as recommendations for other users. So big plus right there. For those of you that tuned in live, thank you as always. Appreciate the love and the support, whether you're watching on Periscope / Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Facebook will be back in effect this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Oh, I'm so sorry. I saw a question that came in here at the last second. I try not to leave you guys hanging here. Who do you think will be interviewed for Dark Side of the Ring? Well, I know they're doing one episode. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think what some of the Dark Side of... Yeah, actually, I gotta look that up, because they actually revealed what all they were going to be talking about for Dark Side of the Ring. Let me pull it up real quick for the 3rd season here. Hang on. I know Jericho's in for the narration once again. Yeah, so they're back for 14 episodes. They're going to be covering the Loose Cannon, Brian Pillman, Grizzly Smith, Jake the Snake Roberts, Rockin' Robin, Sam Houston, the 1995 WCW New Japan Pro Wrestling event, Collision in Korea, with a previously released preview image, possibly confirming it, yeah. And all right, so that's 6 episodes right there. Normally as it gets closer, and if I remember it right, I think, because I actually follow the guys at Dark Side of the Ring, I don't think they were quite ready to reveal the second half of what they were going to be working on for this 3rd coming season. I know one thing that I've tried to push to producer Evan Husney was, hey, can you do something on Mildred Burke? And if you don't know anything about Mildred Burke, look her up. But I remember he loved the idea, and I remember when I talked to him the second go round, on and off the air, he told me straight up, he's like, as cool of a story as that would be to talk about on Dark Side of the Ring, he felt that today's wrestling fans wouldn't be that connected to it. Yeah, there's a lot of salacious stuff that's in there, but they really wouldn't be that connected to it because we're talking about decades and decades ago of Mildred Burke and her time in wrestling and everything. And he said, no, if anything, that would be a really good standalone movie. So I'm hoping that if he hasn't already, and now that we've seen Jim Ross do a little something for Dark Side, maybe him and those guys can actually green like that. Because I remember when I saw Jim Ross at DC Improv, I saw him for his one-man show, took pictures with him, got his autograph and everything. Great night. It's a great night that I had. Enjoyed myself quite a bit. I love JR. I love him. If you get a chance to check out his one-man show, check out his one-man show. But I remember he touched upon Mildred Burke, and he was still in the early stages. There was like a script, and it was just a matter of trying to find the right partners to make it go live and everything. I don't know if they're going to cover it this season, but I would love to see them tackle the WWE Plane Ride from Hell. That's something that had a lot of people talking, and I definitely would love to learn a lot more little, here's stuff that maybe you didn't quite know. So I wouldn't mind seeing an episode about that. Again, whether this season or next season, I wouldn't mind hearing about that. Personally, and when I get the guys on the show, I'm definitely going to bring it to their attention. I would love for them to do an episode on the Extreme Reunion promotion. Now, this is really testing how far back you all go with me as listeners, but I remember the Extreme Reunion promotion with, I believe, Steve O'Neill. And man, research. If you don't know anything about this, go check out the RCWR show archives on YouTube. I don't know, maybe you could do RCWR show Extreme Reunion. Maybe you could do something like that in your podcast feeds. Play around with those words and something should come up. But the con job that this guy did on the wrestling industry at that point, talk about a major black eye for the independent scene. But it was so refreshing to see all the promotions come together in spite of what this asshole did. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that come together. I highly doubt it would happen, but I would love to see something like that come together. What's another one I would like to see? I actually just kind of following up on the great documentary that was done on Yokozuna under WWE Icons. I would love to see Dark Side of the Ring do something on Yokozuna. I don't know how much more story could be told, things that maybe, but I would love to see something of that nature come about. I literally just touched upon the whole shit with Pat Patterson, but I definitely would love to see an episode of Dark Side of the Ring tackle Tom Cole, the whole 1980, 90s WWE sexual misconduct on young boys. I would love to see that get tackled, but I mean, there could be some serious ramifications from that. Just kind of highlight what I had said earlier there. Another interesting period for me that I would love to see the Dark Side of the Ring boys tackle. I would love to see them tackle the final days of ECW. I know that's probably a story that's been told time and time again, but for the most part, WWE has essentially, put that little narrative that's out there. I mean, I don't know how much, what more new we could possibly learn, but I would love to see a little something from them. I'm curious from their perspective, what's new that they could bring to the table concerning that. I also would like to see them do one on China Joni Lauer. I would love to see her get the proper story that she deserves. I feel bad for all the fans that had donated that money for that China documentary, and it basically never came to be. And as it stands to date, China's mom and sister, pretty much representing Joni Lauer's estate, they're continuing to deal with this asshole producer and this asshole director, basically. He's sitting on this and a whole bunch of other stuff, and that documentary just may never see the light of day. So you know what? Okay, fuck it. Let's go ahead and move on. I'd love to see them do like a 2-part joint. I think there's enough of Joni's life there that would warrant a 2-part special. I would. Her humbled beginnings, the bodybuilding, breaking into the WWE and all that. You could pretty much end part 1 with her getting her shocking release by the company, and then part 2 you could pretty much tackle the downward spiral, her getting involved in drugs, the Sean Waltman sex tape, and porn industry. I mean, am I right? There's enough for 2 parts there. So definitely that. Dynamite Kid. I'm a sucker for Dynamite Kid. Anything Dynamite Kid related, sign me up. I love Dynamite Kid. I'd love to see something on Dynamite Kid. Again, it's kind of one of those, tell me something I don't know, or, but I mean, there's so much good material that's there. I think you just have to be more pinpoint specific about, you know, are we talking, you understand what I'm saying? We're trying to go with the more mainstream, and it seems like their trend is to go with the mainstream stuff. That seems to be their nook and cranny, is basically the mainstream stuff, and they're playing it quite well. Honestly, that's a good question, by the way. Who asked that question? That's my question. Who asked that question? I'm trying to see who asked that question. I don't know, Gino. I don't know if that was you that asked that question, but if that was you, because it cut off sadly. Let me see if I can maybe blow that up real quick. See something here. That's a very good question, because I want to try to give credit where credit is due here. Hang on. No, there's no name. Oh, hang on. Let's see here. Let me see here. Is it? No, it's alt. It's alt. Oh, that was Gino. Yeah, I see you, Gino. Very good question. Very good question. Yeah, pretty soon I'm going to start doing some nice little, I don't know, like giveaways or something. I got a load of stuff that I'm sitting on. And I think one of the ways that I'll probably go about doing it is like if I get a really good question that has me going for an extra couple of minutes, I think that's probably going to be like, okay, that's the best question of the night, and maybe we'll like give away a cool prize or something like that. I think that'd be kind of something cool that we'll do. I got to work out the kinks, but yeah, look out for that, to be continued. Good question though, very good question. All right, guys, so that is it. I've got school in the morning, so I got a short turnaround. I got school at 9 in the morning for a couple of hours, so haven't had dinner yet, so I'm gonna grab a quick bite to eat. I'm gonna tag this episode though, and I'll put the audio version up Tuesday night after I get in from work. But meantime, please, as I always say to you guys, be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Appreciate y'all that check this out live. Appreciate those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand, on the downloads. We'll do this again for y'all Wednesday night. Y'all take care, all right? Peace.